as William Kabogo fights off drugs and Mercy Kano death claims. Good evening. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Njoki Shege. The National Intelligence Service, NIS, abducted my son, and a call from President William Ruto to NIS Director Noordin Haji secured the release of my son, Leslie. These are the words of the Public Service Cabinet Secretary Justin Muturi, who in an explosive statement has revealed never-heard-before details on the backstory of the abduction of his son, Leslie Muturi. Muturi has detailed his desperate efforts to seek answers from various security agencies on the disappearance of his son without success. Muturi states that he had to go to State House, Nairobi, after sending the president a WhatsApp message that went unreplied and pleaded with him to intervene. As Melita Oletenges reports, the president's call to the NIS Director General Noordin Haji is what got Leslie released, despite Noordin earlier refuting holding the CS's son.
Cabinet Secretary Justin Muturi arrived at the DCI offices earlier today, armed with a bombshell of a statement that would give details he has suppressed for the last 7 months about the events that unfolded after his son was abducted on June 22nd last year.
My statement with the DCI explains the various steps that I took to secure his release.
Muturi's statement unraveling the desperation he suffered while inquiring about his son's whereabouts. The statement reads in part, "I had sent the president a message via WhatsApp at 3 a.m. informing him of my son's abduction, but he hadn't seen it. I decided to present myself at State House, Nairobi the following day to ask about the matter. I informed the president about my message and he explained that his phone had crashed due to an overload of messages. He then called a technician to check his phone since it was still not functioning properly. I requested that he call Noordin Haji directly and he did." Muturi continues to say, "Standing outside the pavilion, I had the president ask Noordin Haji if he was holding my son. Noordin confirmed that indeed he was holding my son, and the president instructed him to release Leslie immediately. He responded that he would be released within an hour. After an hour, Leslie was released and informed me that he had arrived home." The president joked, why would anyone want to arrest a young person over the Gen Z demonstrations? He even mentioned that Kiunjuri's son and the sons of other officials had been involved in similar demonstrations. Before reaching out to the president, CS Muturi says that he had made several attempts to inquire about his son's whereabouts in vain. "I called the Inspector General of Police, Japheth Koome, who promised to disseminate the information to other agencies. Then I called the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Interior, Raymond Omolo, who promised to take action. I also called the head of the DCI, Mohamed Amin, but he did not answer my calls. I also called Said Kiprotich, the director of the Anti-Terrorism Police Unit, ATPU, who told me no operation had been carried out. The deputy director of the DCI, James Onyango, informed me that he was unaware of any operation that had taken place. A friend from NIS called informing me that my son was being held by their people. I called Noordin Haji again. Despite multiple attempts, he did not answer. I called Kithure Kindiki, the Cabinet Secretary for Interior. I expressed the situation. He expressed shock. He called back saying he had spoken to Haji, who had denied holding Leslie. Professor Kindiki maintained that Haji could not be lying. This statement by Muturi to the DCI not only explains that the intelligence department was involved in the kidnapping of his son, but also lifts the lead on whether NIS might have been involved in the abduction of several youth in the country. Just a few days after attempting to read the president's speech during a burial ceremony in Embu that was met with jeers, the CS for Public Service, Justin Muturi, is now appearing to break ranks with the government. He, however, remains tight-lipped about his next move, despite political barbs being thrown his way. But this is the clearest indication yet that there is trouble in paradise. Melita Oletenges, Citizen TV, at the Kilimani Police Station, Nairobi.
And still on abductions, Billy Mwangi and Gideon Kibet, who are among 5 abductees released after being kidnapped in December, have recorded their statements at DCI headquarters. The two, in the company of family members, lawyers, and human rights organizations, went to record statements as directed by the court to aid in the ongoing investigations. Kenya National Commission on Human Rights has put the number of abductions at 85 since June 2024, with 25 people still unaccounted for, despite calls to have them released.
Over a week after their release, Billy Mwangi and Gideon Kibet made their way to DCI headquarters to record statements. Accompanied by their families, lawyers and officials from human rights organizations, the two did not address media as the car windows remained rolled up.
We have accompanied Billy Mwangi and we have accompanied Kibet, otherwise known as Kibet Bull, to give their statements to the Director of Criminal Investigations. We have done this in good faith. We are supporting the police to give us answers to who is accountable for the abductions or the enforced disappearances of these young men.
The Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, who have been on the forefront in documenting cases of abductions and enforced disappearances, now say they have recorded 85 cases since the start of anti-government protests in June last year. Out of these cases, only 60 have been resolved.
Tumekuwa tukifuatilia vifo na mambo ya utekaji nyara. Kwa sasa mnajua tushasema wamekufa watu 60 hadi jana baada ya kutekwa nyara kwa Mtanzania. Sasa tuko na watu 85 wenye waliotekwa nyara.
The officials who have dismissed the narrative by security officers that they are not responsible for the abductions say they should carry the blame, as they have in the past confirmed their involvement in such activities. A case in point was the abduction of veteran journalist Macharia Gaitho at Karen Police Station on July 17, 2024, and which police later said it was a case of mistaken identity.
One death, one disappearance is bad enough. 60 deaths, 85 disappearances are crimes against humanity. They should not be happening in this Kenya of today, and they must stop.
For close to 6 hours, Mwangi and Kibet were at DCI headquarters, where they recorded their statements, narrating their ordeal in the hands of their abductors for 2 weeks.
Many of them were blindfolded for large periods of time. They were subjected to cruel and inhuman punishment. All of these are crimes under our laws and under international law.
Human rights organizations have also called for the release of 4 friends who were allegedly abducted in Mlolongo a month ago and who are yet to be traced. Gatete Njoroge, Citizen TV.
And amid a surge in cases of abductions, Kenyans are expressing outrage and taking matters into their own hands to resist the perpetrators. In a dramatic turn of events on Sunday, Tanzanian activist Maria Sarungi Tseshai was forcibly taken by armed individuals, but a vigilant city hopper driver intervened, blocking the abductors' vehicle and disrupting their mission. Meanwhile, in Nakuru and Kirinyaga counties, tensions flared when members of the public confronted officers attempting to arrest suspects. The crowd, angered by the officers' civilian attire and lack of proper identification, turned violent, forcing authorities to retreat. These incidents highlight growing public resistance against abductions. Here's Citizen TV's Ben Kirui with public reactions on abductions.
The dramatic rescue unfolded last Sunday along Agwings Kodek Road in Nairobi's Kilimani area. A vigilant city hopper driver, Isaac Mwangi, boldly blocked armed abductors in a bid to prevent a kidnapping. Recalling the tense moment, Mwangi says he noticed an unusual commotion through his rearview mirror, prompting him to act swiftly.
Nilikuwa naangalia na side mirror. Kaangalia wakinikaribia, sasa hapo ndio niliwafugia barabara. Kuwafugia nikasonga mbele kidogo. Wakaingia, kuna estate inaitwa, kuna koti inaitwa Metropolitan. Wakajaribu kuingia huko. Wakaona wakihepea huko hataweza kutoka. Sasa hapo ndio niliweka gari gia reverse, nikarudi reverse, wasitoke hapo kwa hiyo gate ya Metropolitan.
Despite his courageous intervention, the assailants managed to abduct Tanzanian activist Maria Sarungi Tsehai before she was released hours later.
Sasa wale wanachukua video, hao ndio tulikuwa wangetusaidia wao wakujebere yetu, wao watu wasipate mahali ya kuepea. Sasa wakichukua video, hao jamaa waliona nikiweka gia za mbele, wakatoa bunduki.
A similar script played out in Kimanyeki village, Kirinyaga. Chaos erupted after residents clashed with detectives accused of attempting to abduct a local.
Watu wanakuwa sasa wako na wasiwasi, wako na uoga. Wakiona tu ile gari labda na vile wanaona Nairobi na mambo vile yanaendelea katika Kenya, wanakuwa na ile wasiwasi. Sasa ndio hiyo gari uliona walianza kuichoma.
The enraged crowd, suspecting foul play, demanded that the officers identify themselves and state their mission.
Watu wanaogopa hii magari sana, sababu hii magari ya Passo na Subaru zinakujia watu ovyo ovyo. Kama mtu anakujua, anapepwa, anaenda, tunakosa hiyo mtu.
Lakini akikuja na Subaru, kwanza wanaziita Subaru za Mambaru, wanakuja wanakuabduct. That is unconstitutional, that is hata kidnapping.
Ama DCI walikuja bila uniform. Kwa hiyo watu walifikiria watu wamekuja kuteka watu nyara, kama venye tuliona kule Hebu watu wakiteka watu nyara. Tukaona kule Kitengela watu wakitekwa nyara. Kwa hiyo kile kinafanya watu wakuwe na hofu ama wakuwe akiogopa ni ile wanaona ni kama watu wamekuja kutekwa nyara, wamekuja kushikwa, na tumeona makesi mingi ya watu kushikwa.
Fearing mob justice, the detectives were forced to release their suspect. It later emerged that the officers were on an official mission to arrest Jacqueline Gatwiri, a suspect in a robbery with violence and rape case. Following the standoff, Gatwiri was rearrested. In Nakuru, a dramatic confrontation unfolded Monday evening when a plainclothes officer attempted to arrest a local. Witnesses say the man, who was carrying a backpack and suitcase, raised an alarm after being handcuffed.
Huyu mwenye alikuwa na bag, pakakuwa karodi kakwa sasa imeanza kubuild. Huyu mwenye ako na bag bado anaambia raia, mnisaidie, nashikwa na sijui nashikiwa nini. So kwa hiyo kitu askari akasema, huyu jamaa ako na bangi.
The situation escalated when the officer failed to provide identification or explain the charges, leading the charged crowd to intervene.
Vitu zika-escalate haraka hadi ikabidi kuna askari wako pale Faulu Bank. Ndo walikuja wakarescue huyu askari mwingine, but before afike huyu askari kwa amegonga na watu kidogo.
This series of incidents has heightened public concerns over rising cases of abductions and unlawful arrests, with many calling for increased transparency and proper identification by law enforcement officers.
Outraged by the ongoing enforced abductions by unknown individuals, they have declared their resolve to take matters into their own hands and confront the perpetrators head-on. Ben Kirui, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
And the breaking of ranks with the government he serves has invited trouble for CS Muturi, with MPs allied to President William Ruto now plotting an impeachment motion to oust him from office. But defiant Muturi dared the legislators to bring it on. Stephen Latour reports.
Muturi's move to leave the lead on wrangles within President William Ruto's cabinet over abductions has provoked lawmakers allied to President William Ruto, who are now threatening to file an impeachment motion in the National Assembly to kick him out of office. But Muturi says, bring it on.
Because tuko na siku 14 ndio to resume bunge. Justin Muturi, you have 3 options. Ya kwanza, resign. Ya pili, apologize. To ignore your maneno. Ya tatu, we impeach you.
I would just say bring it on. I mean, at my age, I'm not the kind of person to respond to some of it is really very perfunctory statement made by fairly inexperienced politicians. I think they're not worthy my response. So if anybody thinks that I don't know what I'm doing, then they are up for a rude shock.
Asked if this is the beginning of the fallout with his boss, President William Ruto, Muturi says his boss can dismiss him if he so wishes.
The removal of a cabinet secretary is very simple. Just go to Article 132. It says the president may appoint with the approval of the National Assembly, may nominate, and with the approval of the National Assembly, appoint and dismiss cabinet secretary. So even when I took this job, I was fully aware of those professions.
CS Muturi has been seen as the only cabinet secretary owning up to the cases of the abductions witnessed in the country, going against the government's position, that of security apparatus in the country amid backlash against abductions. Stephen Leto, Citizen TV.
And now to the vetting of Cabinet Secretary nominees. And the Cabinet Secretary nominees who were vetted today came face to face with the ghosts of the period they occupied public offices, with the former Kiambu Governor and the ICT Cabinet Secretary nominee William Kabogo having to fight off the tag of a drug baron during his approval hearing today before the Committee on Appointments. As Emmanuel To now reports, the Agriculture CS nominee Mutahi Kagwe also had a tough time responding to questions on his alleged involvement in the Kenya Medical Supplies Agency KEMSA scandal in the procurement and supply of COVID-19 material, which saw the taxpayer lose billions of shillings.
I, William Kabogo Gitau, do swear that...
It was a marathon grilling which saw the past exhumed regarding President William Ruto's new signings into cabinet, with the former Kiambu Governor William Kabogo, who is a heartbeat away from being the Cabinet Secretary for ICT and the digital economy, at pains to clear his name on allegations of being a drug trafficker in a US dossier more than 14 years ago.
Data that does not expire cheaper.
Kabogo, who was adversely mentioned in a dossier by the US Foreign Narcotics Kingpin Designation Act in 2010, alongside other 3 members of parliament, presented to parliament by the then Minister for Internal Security, Professor George Saitoti, said he was cleared of any wrongdoing.
The late Professor George Saitoti named in parliament persons suspected with drug traffickers. Did you or have you ever been suspected or charged with drug trafficking?
I had never been involved in drug trafficking, and I had never been a driver of the Honorable Mao as that dossier. This is something I am bound to live with for the rest of my life, but I do not do drugs.
Kabogo also had to contend with allegations of being involved in the mysterious death of former University of Nairobi student Mercy Keino, who died after attending a party allegedly hosted by the former Kiambu Governor.
The issue of the death of Mercy Keino came to me 2 weeks after she had been buried. And even if I had met her the following day after that hotel or restaurant, I would never have noticed her. It is a sad story, and Kenyan life was lost, but I sincerely and truly had nothing to do with it.
Keino's body was found dumped along Wayaki Way in June 2011 after the night event. The same script also followed for the former health CS Mutahi Kagwe, with members questioning his role in the infamous KEMSA scandal that saw billions of shillings lost, especially in the purchase of the personal protective equipment PPEs.
There's also single sourcing of COVID masks supplied contrary to Section 69(2) of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act.
It wasn't that the Ministry of Health was buying those items at a higher price than the rest of the world or the rest of the country. We were buying it at the market prices at that time. That cartels fight back. You know, cartels will fight back. And some of the stuff that you're hearing coming out is a question of cartels fighting back.
Kagwe was also put to task to explain how he cancelled the use of Russian Sputnik V vaccine moments after it had been administered to President William Ruto then and First Lady Rachel Ruto and some Kenyans, members alleging political interference. Also vetted was the former Nakuru Governor Lee Kinyanjui, who was nominated for the Investments, Trade and Industry docket and will also be waiting for parliamentary approval before occupying cabinet ranks. The Committee on Appointments will now retire to write its report about the 3 cabinet secretary nominees who have been vetted on Tuesday before presenting the names and the report on Thursday during a special sitting of the House called to consider their names and those who have been posted to international assignments. Emmanuel Toa, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Away from the vetting of the CS nominees, Deputy President Professor Kithure Kindiki has called on Kenyans to be respectful in their criticism of the government. DP Kindiki, who was issuing title deeds in Taita Taveta County, said recent criticism of government has injured the country's moral fabric and called on all Kenyans to restore dignity in the country. The CS, who was accompanied by several members of parliament, assured the locals in Taita Taveta that the government will resolve all outstanding land issues in the coast.
Taifa moja la Kenya, nchi moja, taifa moja, bendera moja, wimbo wa taifa moja, ramani ya nchi yetu, kweli si kweli? Kweli si kweli? We are one nation.
And university students want the Higher Education Loans Board to release their funds to enable them sit exams next week. The students say delay in release of the funds could lock them out of the exams as they have failed to clear their fees on time. The students also want the Ministry of Education to pronounce itself on the fate of the first and second year student affected by the new funding model that has been declared unconstitutional by the courts. Brenda Wanga reports.
It's just a few days before university students sit exams they ought to have taken last semester, and many of them are unsure if they will indeed take the exams. Many of them are grappling with clearance of university fees and the uncertainty clouding their funding this semester in the wake of the scrapping of the new funding model.
I've not paid fees and the exams are due by 20th, and as we all know, we cannot do exams without registering. So we are calling upon the HELB CEO to release the students' money so that we can continue with our studies. Also, our upkeep, many of the students are really suffering. They are hungry. They are just sleeping in their hostels. They are doing nothing because they have no money to use in their expenditure.
The now defunct model has left second and first year students saddled with heavy loans. Some have altogether been unable to join university, while others forced to change courses.
I said around 500 students in my faculty did not join school. This is because they were affected by the new funding model. I talked with the Dean of Students at my faculty, and she confirmed that around 500 students were unable to join the university. So my question is, the new funding model was scrapped down. How are these students now who didn't join last year? Are they going to join the school this year, or what is going to happen?
The students' concerns come as the government, through the CS Education, assured them that those enrolled under the unconstitutional new funding model would not be turned away from the university this semester, even as the government moves to remedy the situation. However, the students say the old model should kick in.
The DUC was better, yes. Number one, all students were equal. Were equal because we all pay equal taxes as Kenyans, so it made sense for us to pay equal fees. And every learner had an opportunity to pursue their cause. There were less cases of harambes, but since the NFM was introduced, every week you are added to a group of a harambe to changisha for a student who is joining campus. And most of those students who are being placed in those funny bands are from poor and needy backgrounds and cannot afford these fees. So if this is the problem when we are starting, what about 10 years, 15 years from now?
While the students now want help to release their funds before the end of this week to alleviate their suffering and assist them in clearing their fees, the Kenya Post-Primary Education Teachers Union, KUPPET, is warning that the delay in releasing capitation for the first term of learning has the potential of compromising the academic calendar.
The government knew the schools were going to open. We had read somewhere that we had been assured by the permanent secretary that the funds are ready. Why the funds are yet to hit the account, nobody knows.
Kuppet also faulted the government for failing to prepare adequately for the transition to grade 9, leaving thousands of learners without proper classrooms. Brenda Wanga, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
And still on the crisis in the education sector, lecturers and staff of the Technical University of Kenya staged a protest in Nairobi over non-payment of their salaries. Lecturers marched through streets of Nairobi to Parliament buildings, to Treasury buildings and the Ministry of Education to demand for their 3 months' pay. Willie Lusiga reports on their plight.
Singing patriotic songs, chanting slogans, lecturers and staff of TUK marched from the university to Parliament and then to the Ministries of Finance and Education to present their grievances about unpaid salaries.
You cannot expect employees of a public university in Nairobi, in the central business district, of Nairobi, to be working for 3 months and earn a salary fraction for 1 month. There shall be no services if and until you address our issues.
Sisi tuko njaa, watoto wetu wako nyumbani. Swali ni kwamba sisi tufunze wenu na wetu wakae nyumbani. Haiwezekani. Itawezekana kweli? Haiwezekani. Itawezekana kweli? Haiwezekani.
The Dons are also complaining about alleged embezzlement of their statutory deductions, including retirement funds and bank loan repayments.
Tunakatwa pesa miaka 15. Ugonjwa pia inaje. Tunaweka pamoja kama ya pension. Bilioni 5.3 imekunywa maji. Tunakatwa pesa yetu ya kulipia loans. Yes. Hatujui zinaenda wapi. Kila mtu hapa ako kwa CRB.
The lecturers gave a 7-day ultimatum to the government to pay or have operations at the university paralyzed.
TUK is the latest university to enter into the list of public universities that are now being faced by cash crunch crisis, but the bigger concern being on the future of the institution that now hangs in limbo. Willie Lusiga, Citizen TV at TUK University in Nairobi.
Right, and that story by Willie Lusiga brings us to our very first break. We're going to be back very shortly. Let's take a look at what's coming up. EACC arrests senior official in Kisumu County over fake academic papers.
Sour petroleum jelly repairs dry skin and moisturizes like no other. Non-sticky like no other. Great quality product from Pwani Oil.
These days, you have to shop smart as everything is so expensive. I shop smart. I always get a good bargain when I buy my mbogas from Mama Chege. I shop smart. I buy the 1 kg of Msafi, which costs the same as 500 grams of a popular detergent. I shop smart. Msafi removes tough stains and keeps clothes bright. And its pleasant fragrance keeps clothes smelling fresh. Chagua smart, value maradufu, na Msafi.
Great yummy taste gotta hack it. I spread bread pate nguvu gotta pack it. Napaka nyweki design ya mokoro. Blue Panda, Juni natural cocoa. 5 vitamins una grow plus vitamini. One by one tuna flow with the energy. Dance to the beat, feel the adrenaline. Vibes ni polite. Step into the motion. Tuna hack snack na ki blue band choco for your growth. Juni
Jitokeze na Kiwi. Buy a Kiwi limited edition tin and stand a chance to win your share of 3 million in cash, school fees, shopping vouchers and other amazing prizes. Simply dial *459 *5#, enter the code under the lead and stand a chance to win. Step up and shine.
And we need 2 Royco cubes because iron gives you strength to sukuma yourself to be the best you can be.
Sukuma na Royco, kula sukuma na Royco, sukuma wiki na Royco.
A little more than 50 years ago, a group of cooperators came together to plant a seed. From these strong roots, and with God's blessings, that seed today is a strong, big tree. The Cooperative Bank has grown to serve not only the needs of the cooperative movement, but also by helping unlock new opportunities. The Kingdom Bank enables the growth and prosperity of a rich diversity of Kenyans across our great nation and beyond. Through innovative products, harnessing new technologies, and by striving to meet and exceed the needs of our customers in a fast-changing world. And even though we now serve more than just the cooperative movement, we take a lot of pride in our roots. We are the Cooperative Bank. We are you.
Over the last 125 years, Castrol has been there, making moves with you. We moved aeronautics with the first ever transatlantic flight. We moved motorsport. We even moved space. Castrol said, we move, and we continue to say, we move. We move people like you, and you. We'll move you from Nairobi, Kampala, Kigali to Lusaka. We'll move you from Dar, Mombasa, Addis, Juba, Entebbe, Rwanda, and everywhere in between. That's the thing about Castrol. We move together no matter what.
Taking advantage of discounts and cashback offers during shopping not only reduces your expenses, but also frees up extra cash that can be channeled into savings or investments. Shop smart and save more this festive season.
The Loop Shopping Festival is here. Get up to 5,000 extra discount when you pay with Loop. Why wait? Download Loop today.
Royal Credit Limited, the majority shareholder of Direct Line, advises holders and prospective holders of motor vehicle insurance policies that any insurance covers issued by Direct Line Assurance Company are invalid. This is due to the illegal alteration of the company's CR12, imposing on Direct Line illegal shareholders and directors who are now running the company. Royal Credit Limited cannot guarantee payment of any claims by Direct Line, as sections 23, 71 and 166 of the Insurance Act have been contravened. Under the prevailing circumstances, Royal Credit Limited cautions against any purchase of insurance policy from Direct Line.
Tunakusa sana sana home mash kwa sababu hawa kondoo ina saa mara mbili.
Nimechoka kuishi na mwanamke ambaye hana heshima na bwanake. Hiyo nyumba ina mapenzi?
Netrex protects you and your family from disease-causing germs, allowing the freedom to be yourself all day long.
Endorsed by Kenya Progressive Nurse Association. Bidhaa bora kutoka Pwani Oil Limited.
Welcome back. Detectives from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission today arrested a former senior staff of the Kisumu County government following allegations of forgery. Nick Odhiambo Migot, who served as the Kisumu County Director of ICT, was fingered for forging academic papers, which he used to gain employment as a public servant. And as Laura Otieno reports, Migot is set to face 3 charges, including fraudulent acquisition of public property pegged on his accrued salary over a 3-year period where he worked as a director.
The anti-graft dragnet today nabbed former director of ICT in Kisumu, who was at pains to explain the legitimacy of his academic credentials. In investigations by EACC, Megot is accused of forging a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science certificate as well as his KCSE certificate. Documents which he used to gain employment as the Director of Information, Communication and Technology in Kisumu County, where he worked for 3 years. EACC spokesperson Eric Ngumbi revealed that Megot is among several officers within the Kisumu County government who are being investigated for falsifying academic papers. Megot, who is currently at the Kisumu Central Police Station, will be arraigned on Wednesday and will be charged with forgery, uttering a false document, as well as fraudulent acquisition of public property, contrary to Sections 45 and 48 of the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act, where he earned a total of 4.6 million shillings. The anti-corruption watchdog has raised an alarm over the number of academic forgeries, vowing to clean the public service register by weeding out those with fake credentials. Laura Otieno, Citizen TV.
And 2 suspects linked to the murder of Kilifi County IEBC Elections Manager Aisha Abubakar will remain in custody at Bamburi Police Station for 21 days to allow police conclude investigations. Appearing before Shanzu Senior Principal Magistrate Leah Juma, the suspects Joshua Sunday and Brian Oyare were directed to undergo medical examinations while in custody. The magistrate further ordered that a medical report be submitted to the court. The Independent Policing Oversight Authority IPOA has also been instructed to investigate allegations of police assault on the suspects while in custody.
The suspects to be detained at Bamburi Police Station for a period of 21 days from today to enable the investigating officer to finalize his investigations. Further, the suspects to be escorted to hospital for treatment or medical examination while they're in custody. The investigating officer, together with the OCS Bamburi Police Station, where the suspects will be detained, are directed to ensure that the suspects' human rights, as enshrined in the Constitution, are not violated at all, and a report to be prepared by the investigating of the OCS Bamburi Police Station on the status of the suspects while they're in the police custody. Please give me a mention date for the 21 days.
Now, an autopsy has been conducted on what is believed to be the body of 29-year-old Moi University graduate Lydia Namutosi Tokesi, who went missing 2 weeks ago. The badly decomposed body was discovered in Ololua Forest and taken to a mortuary in Ongata Rongai. The autopsy was unable to establish the cause of death, and investigators have now taken DNA samples from the body and family to establish if it matches.
The family of Lydia Namutosi Tokesi gathered outside this mortuary in Ongata Rongai to witness the autopsy of the female body discovered in Ololua Forest last weekend. The family believes the body is that of their missing kin Lydia, who had been missing for 2 weeks, and were hopeful the autopsy would answer some of their questions. However, the post-mortem conducted on Tuesday afternoon in the presence of officers from the DCI Homicide Division and representatives of the family was unable to establish the cause of death owing to the badly decomposing state of the body at the time it was discovered.
The physical findings of the autopsy was multiple injuries because the body was badly humiliated. That's why there were multiple injuries on the body. But as a family, we hope justice will be found.
The badly mutilated body, which preliminary investigations indicate may be that of the missing Moi University graduate, was missing both legs and her face was badly decomposed, making it impossible for the family to positively identify her.
And we hope as a family that at the end we'll get to know what really happened and where is Lydia Tokesi. We hope as we get the results, we'll update to know if that body was really for Lydia Tokesi. But for now, Lydia is a missing person, and we are pleading as a family, wherever she is, may she come back home.
DCI officers spent the day in this flat in the Maasai Lodge area at the house of the suspect Joseph Philip Orwa, piecing together information that may give a clue as to what may have transpired leading to the disappearance of Lydia. Mary Mwoki, Citizen TV.
And on a happier note here, celebrations over KCSE results continue to be witnessed around the country, with families, schools and students who braved challenges in their four-year academic journey coming out to praise God and share the joy. In Nyeri County, 18-year-old Danson Baragu, who has battled cancer since the year 2022, was celebrated at the Nyeri County Referral Hospital after scoring an A of 77 points at the Baricho Boys High School. And as Kamau Mwangi now reports, Danson hopes to pursue oncology and treat those suffering from the disease, having beaten it himself.
At the Oncology Department of the Nyeri County Referral Hospital, celebrations are on. Oncology nurses and cancer patients have joined the family of 18-year-old Danson Farago, a candidate in last year's KCSE exam, and who, for close to 2 years, have seen the walls of this department after he was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2022 as he began his second year of secondary education. The diagnosis putting him out of class for that year and close to half of the third as he underwent treatment.
I did not understand the doctor's language at that time, because when I saw the results, they were that I had classical Hodgkin's lymphoma. It was unknown to me, and I couldn't imagine that it was something like cancer. At that time, I believed that cancer was so deadly. I believed it was worse than HIV and AIDS.
Danson recounts how the chemotherapy and radiotherapy sessions took a toll on him as his peers continued learning.
That was the most painful thing, because they had to drill into my bone, get that bone marrow inside. It was so painful. The medicine that I was taking, they pained me a lot when they were going through the veins. So I also had to undergo another surgery to be installed a chemopot in my chest.
When he got the green light to resume his studies, he says he had to work twice as hard to catch up with his peers, with the national examination approaching fast. His A- grade achievement did not come as a shocker.
I had to wake up so early. At 3, I was already on. You could meet just 2 students, 3 students in the class who would try to make me understand some things that I had missed previously. And it came out of sacrifice and hard work, because waking up at 3 and sleeping at 12 wasn't a joke.
Nasikia furaha sana kwa kusema kupata A. Niko natarajia hiyo A. Nilikuwa natarajia apate A flat, lakini kwa hiyo amepata, nimetoseka nayo.
We organized a small party for them just to celebrate, so that we tell the others out there that there is life after a cancer diagnosis.
Having beaten cancer, Danson is determined to pursue oncology as he seeks to take his place in the medical field. Kamau Mwangi, Citizen TV, at the Nyeri County Referral Hospital.
Congratulations, Danson. Truly inspiring story. And President William Ruto has signed a comprehensive economic partnership agreement with United Arab Emirates, which seeks to eliminate trade barriers, marking a historic milestone in the economic relations between the two nations. The president, who is visiting the UAE, put pen to paper with the country's president, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, as a step towards strengthening Kenya's position as a gateway to East Africa and Southern Africa. Kenya's key exports to the UAE include meat, fruits, flowers, and vegetables. In return, UAE supplies Kenya with petroleum, machinery, and chemical products. According to the two presidents, the agreement will simplify customs procedures and promote industrialization and regional value chain. We're taking a very short break, and very shortly we'll be talking business. Let's take a look at what's coming up.
Now we have the law in place. We have the building code in place. There's no excuse anymore.
The National Construction Authority unveils a new building code as it warns rogue developers of harsher penalties.
Coming soon on Citizen TV.
Congratulations to you. You're going to be a mother.
A medical error.
Oh, gosh. Are you okay? Yes.
Changes her destiny.
I'm pregnant.
Wait, can you say that again? Did you say you were pregnant?
Now, who got you pregnant? I really don't know how it happened or when.
La Historia de Juana. Coming soon on Citizen TV.
Utamu wa ugali, chapati, mahamri unapatikana ndani ya Tuten.
What are your academic goals and aspirations? Mount Kenya University is here to enable you achieve your goals.
I'll be taking you through this introductory part.
You can study online through our electronic learning. We also assure you of timely completion of your studies, as well as give you a wide range of academic programs to choose from. Ready to blend academics, talent, and extracurricular activities? Enroll with us today. Mount Kenya University, unlocking infinite possibilities.
Hii ni ya kupunguza maumivu. Itapunguza pain yako chap chap.
Kaluma. Hata shosha yangu alikuwa anatumia Kaluma.
Unaweza aminia Kaluma kila saa. Kaluma with timeless.
People come to me and they say they get discomfort when they have ice cream. Can you imagine that? Avoiding having cold ice cream. Sensodyne gives you long-lasting protections against sensitivity. And people come in and they're like, oh, it works. I can have ice cream and I'm not in any discomfort. I recommend Sensodyne because it works. It's brilliant.
It takes the best trainers to train you to become the best in your career. At Thika Institute of Business Studies, we offer the best theoretical and practical training in the fields of hospitality and tourism, journalism, engineering courses, business courses, information technology, social work and community health, fashion and interior design, hairdressing and beauty, driving, and many more. January intake is in progress. Tibbs College, a highway to future success.
Sasa?
Wasan.
Ile stick ya zero sugar ni nini?
Ujui Club Zero? Hebu nikushow.
Festive seeded bread, zero added sugar, high in fiber and protein. Mkate zero sugar.
Soma lebo.
Sasa Mama Tosh.
Wewe kwa Club Zero?
Nikose nichekwe. Aya, nipe mbili. Moja ya babu, ingine ya shosho. Asante. Shosh. Mkate ya Club Zero, imagine. Festive Zero and Festive Wholemeal. Zero added sugar and reduced salt.
Napenda. Asante sana mwanangu.
Na hii Festive Wholemeal ni yako babu. Imepunguzwa chumvi, soma lebo.
This is very good. Hii mkate ya Heritage ina chumvi nyingi, alafu ni
Karibuni Club Zero.
Carefully read the food label before consuming your products. The balanced recipe with reduced salt and zero added sugar is good for you and your family.
Ready to kickstart your study or career in Germany? At East African Study in Germany, we offer partially funded nursing and hospitality apprenticeship programs, agriculture internships, and low tuition fee bachelor's and master's programs. With over 20 years of experience bridging East African and German education systems, we ensure 100% guaranteed placements. Thinking Germany, think East Africans study in Germany.
Jukiwa General Agencies Limited. We are registered property managers in Kenya. We pay your rental income in advance so you don't have to deal with difficult tenants. Enjoy up to 10 times rental income advance with a friendly repayment plan. Are you selling your commercial building? Jukiwa General Agencies can give you advance payment as we finalize on the sale process. Visit our offices at State House Avenue, Kilimani, Tetu Apartments, Block C, or call us on 0743 227 881.
Let the day perish wherein I was born.
Every story is different. Some stories you find in the headlines, some come from the heart, but every story is worth hearing. Viusasa brings you Murder at Got Alila. We unwrap the mystery behind Robert Ouko's death. In Jane and Solomon, the self-confessed witness gives his account of the story.
My husband was not murdered on that sick.
And in Njera Nishetu, from the truth-seeking investigative stories to the raw human stories that often go unheard, Viusasa is your home for documentaries.
Tunakusa sana sana home mash kwa sababu hawa kondoo ina saa mara mbili.
Nimechoka kuishi na mwanamke ambaye hana heshima na bwanake. Hiyo nyumba ina mapenzi?
Dettrex protects you and your family from disease-causing germs, allowing the freedom to be yourself all day long.
Endorsed by Kenya Progressive Nurse Association. Bidhaa bora kutoka Pwani Oil Limited.
This is me at Stanbic Private Banking. What does it feel like? It's investing skillfully. It's planning wisely. It's living joyfully. It's banking easily. Visit www.stanbic.co.ke. Stanbic Bank is regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya.
Let's talk business. Prepare for harsher penalties. This is the warning from the Cabinet Secretary for Lands, Housing and Urban Development to contractors whose buildings collapse. The CS who officiated the launch of the National Building Code also cautioned Kenyans against engaging unqualified individuals to undertake and oversee construction projects. As Jimmy Mbogo now reports, the Building Code, which comes into effect in March, is expected to heighten enforcement and increase inspections at construction sites to eliminate substandard practices.
To address the rising incidences of building collapsing in the country, the National Construction Authority (NCA) has announced the National Building Code, a comprehensive set of guidelines aimed at governing the construction industry. The code, set to take effect in the first quarter of the year, focuses on raising public awareness, enhancing compliance, improving safety and risk mitigation, promoting sustainable practices, reducing informal and unsafe construction, and upholding higher safety standards. The government is confident that the new building code will restore discipline and professionalism within the country's built environment.
We have lost lives before. We have seen buildings coming down. And I think we have not followed thereafter to see what action has been taken. We will prosecute, I can tell you. With this code, we will prosecute. The penalty of 3 years is actually very small. If you have caused the loss of life, you may find yourself with a very harsh term.
To support its implementation, the National Construction Authority will receive an annual budget increase of between 400 and 500 million shillings. The funding will boost the regulator's operational efficiency by enabling it to expand its workforce and enhance its capacity to enforce compliance.
So that means we'll be hiring more Kenyans. First of all, unemployed youth will sort that. Second, getting professionals doing the right professional work. And that means then, of course, we'll have to expand our operations. And really, we'll need, of course, more monitoring evaluation. That goes without saying, and we've already put in plans to set off that and make sure it happens alongside implementation.
Now we have the law in place. We have the building code in place. There's no excuse anymore. So our concern as a committee is to ensure that all the constructions that are going on in the country are properly planned, put in a good standard, for the safety of the citizens, safety of those people who are going to occupy those particular buildings.
The launch of the National Building Code now puts in place the policy framework for the National Construction Authority to enforce compliance, ensuring that the issue of collapsing buildings across the country becomes a thing of the past. Jimmy Mbogo, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
And the African continent is set to showcase its prowess in global trade at the upcoming Africa Summit this April. The World Chambers Federation and the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry will host the inaugural event in Nairobi. The summit is expected to draw 4,500 participants from over 70 countries, and its primary goal is to promote inclusive and sustainable growth by fostering partnerships, sharing best practices, and showcasing Africa's readiness for international markets. The emphasis on collaboration highlights valuable investment opportunities on a continent where the industrial sector contributes 22% to GDP.
In terms of inter-African trade, we are trading at approximately between 15 and 16%. So the first agenda and objective of this business forum is that all Africa's private sector will come and discuss and see how we can be able to increase intra-African trade through the African Free Continental Trade Area that most of the countries in Africa have signed.
So it's an opportunity for not just Kenya, but Africa to showcase itself as the frontier for trade and investments. The potential that Africa portends is extremely high. We at a GDP of $3.4 trillion at the moment in Africa with a population of 1.3. We expect this to grow, is expected to grow to 2.5 billion population by 2050, and the GDP growing to almost $5 trillion million.
The summit definitely is a milestone in redefining the role of chambers of commerce as drivers of economic transformation by enabling businesses to adapt to emerging global trends and connecting them with strategic opportunities. We are building the foundation for an Africa that is not just a participant, but a leader in the global economy.
The government of South Sudan has refuted claims that it is collecting taxes in Kenya through the port of Mombasa. Speaking in Mombasa, Simon Akwei Deng, the Commissioner General of the South Sudan National Revenue Authority, clarified that the newly implemented system is intended to enhance transparency in cargo invoicing. While the system has faced resistance from some stakeholders in the transport sector, South Sudan authorities say they remain steadfast in their commitment to its implementation.
Our target this year is to ensure that South Sudan is able to automate its custom systems and is integrated into a single custom territory framework. And this is a system through which all our custom systems of the 6 countries communicate. and they share the data on a real-time basis.
All the countries of the regions have systems in Mombasa. This is exactly just what we want to do. We want to install a system in Mombasa. Number one is to bring the originality of the invoices that are coming from different countries, because there is a system existing already. We just need to tap into the EAC systems being used here. Number two is also to reduce fraud. We have to reduce fraud by invoicing from the first entry to the region. So that will actually reduce fraud. And third is also to remove issues of diversion of goods into the region. Because we don't have a system in Mombasa, one will use South Sudan name and vanish anywhere he wants, which is danger to our revenue collections. But it's for the common good of everybody. For Kenya, we don't want good to vanish into Kenya in the name of South Sudan. We don't want good to disappear into Congo, but in the name of South Sudan. We want system that actually will control, track goods and commodities that are being imported to the right countries that have been declared to go to.
This is me at Stanbic Private Banking. What does it feel like? It's investing skillfully. It's planning wisely. It's living joyfully. It's banking easily. Visit www.stanbic.co.ke. Stanbic Bank is regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya.
We'll be back with all the day's sports in just a bit. Let's take a look at what's coming up in sports. Relief for Kenya as the Confederation of Africa Football CAF postpones the CHAN tournament to August.
Spending too much time in cleaning with too many products? Presenting new ACO All-Purpose Cleaner. Using ACO takes just 3 easy steps. ACO All-Purpose Cleaner is effective around any surface. And ACO is a woman's best friend. New ACO All-Purpose Cleaner saves time, saves money. Also available in lavender fragrance.
When I have back pain, I reach for 2 tablets of Panadol Extra. It's boosted by caffeine for fast relief of strong pain, like headache, toothache, and muscle pain. And I am finally released from pain and ready to be there for those who need me. Try Panadol Extra for fast and effective relief from strong pain.
The Loop Shopping Festival is here. Get up to 5,000 extra discount when you pay with Loop. Why wait? Download Loop today.
Wadau, tumesikiza wasee kwa ground na sasa streets zimetii kutii. Tumeanguka na bei, mali bado ni safi. Watu wa Chrome, Triple S na Ken Extra, budget sasa imeshuka kuruka na sherehe sasa itabamba mbaya. Au sio?
One campus, 3 locations. Welcome to the future of healthcare education. This is Imperial College of Medical and Health Sciences. Introducing our Nakuru campus. The next generation of healthcare professionals is secure with us. Offering you education grounded in theory, but built on real-world application. January 2025 intake is now open. Please call us on 0719-223-223. Imperial College of Medical and Health Sciences. Committed to professional excellence.
Sports now, and the Kenya Tourism Board has kicked off a 5-day heritage trail expedition that started in Laikipia County and will end in Nandi County on Saturday. The trail will go through the counties of Elgeyo Marakwet, Baringo and Uasin Gishu. Mike Okinyi covered day 1 of the trail and filed the following report.
The scenic Thompson's Falls in Laikipia was the starting point for a 5-day adventure through 5 counties in 5 days. For a taste of the new trails that are expected to boost sports tourism in Kenya, 43 hikers and 29 bikers signed up for the first edition. Day 1 took the participants through Nyahururu, Subukia Viewpoint and a brief stop at Shrine Walk in Subukia, 40 kilometers from Nakuru. The riders then hit the road to Lake Solai, a saltwater lake near Solai town. This was a new experience for most of them.
Oh, the lake. What's it called? I forgot its name, but the brown lake, guys swam in it, and the intro as you were approaching the lake was just epic, memorable, yeah.
From Lake Solai, it was a long drive and ride to Huntington Viewpoint, also known as Kapicha by the locals. The viewpoint overlooks Lake Bogoria down in the valley and offers great opportunities for hikers. Huntington View is also a popular spot for camping.
This is the view into the Rift Valley. And you can see from here how the rift forms. In fact, today is very clear. You can see the fault lines. They look like frozen waves. You know, those are the ridges which run north-south.
The trail was carefully selected to give the best views across the scenes in the different counties and also to give the locals an opportunity to interact with the visitors. The cyclists on the trail for the first time were blown away by the experience.
There's a viewpoint. At least we've had one very nice viewpoint. You stand up, from there you can see Subukia town. Lake Solai is also not very well known, but it's also a nice place to visit. And they should be ready for riding downhill, very many downhills, and of course when you ride down, you know you have to ride up again, so there's a bit of a challenge with the climbs. Yeah. Thank you.
How was the experience today?
It was amazing. The views, it's different when you're on your bike as compared to when you're in a vehicle. I mean, it's like you're in touch with nature, like one-on-one. It's just amazing. And I'd say the route was pretty fair because it was mostly drops. A bit of climbs, of course, but mostly drops. So it was really smooth sailing. Yeah.
The 5-day trail aims to go through the uncharted waters of Kenyan tourism, and scenes like this is what the Kenya Tourism Board is hoping will attract more tourists to come to the country. Day 1 was a descent into the Rift Valley, and day 2 will be an ascent out of the Rift Valley. Mike Okinyi for Citizen TV in Baringo County.
Cases of referee harassment and hooliganism have been on the rise of late, with the Football Kenya Federation now forced to take stern action to calm the situation. The recent incidents on Sunday were laid bare in the National Super League in Embu and the Division 1 match in Bungoma. Lukman Mahmoud with the details.
The Moi Stadium in Embu on Sunday after the center referee blew the final whistle. Hosts 3K lost by a solitary goal in front of their home fans, blaming the referee for the loss as he disallowed 3 goals scored by 3K FC.
Like officiating imekuwa noma kidogo. Tumenyang'anywa 2 goals na penalty yenye tulideserve, but tuna focus kwa next game tu. Next game tuko away tunacheza na Gogo. Ni team poa pia. Na pia si team poa, we are just a young team.
But it was 3K versus the referee kwa sababu ametoa bao zetu 3 zenye we feel ni goals zenye zilikuwa legit, ni bao zenye zingestand. So we urge the people in charge that they should improve the quality of officiating in the league.
Cases of hooliganism were forgotten in the Kenyan scenes, and what happened over the weekend must be dealt with to avoid tarnishing Kenya's image as the country prepared to host CHAN 2024 and AFCON 2027.
I think 3K wako na mafans wazuri sana. And the referees did their job. We can't really say that the referee walikuwa na shida kidogo. It happens in a football match, and as we use our moment, and that was the most important thing. We got our chance to utilize vizuri. They also got their chances as well.
Football Kenya Federation has launched a full-scale probe into the incident, stating that it has received detailed match reports from the referee. Lukman Mahmoud, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
And CAF President Patrice Motsepe has announced the postponement of the African Nations Championship CHAN to August 2025. Motsepe says the decision has been made on the advice of the CAF Technical Committee that feels the 3 East African countries need more time to put the required infrastructure in place. The CHAN draw is set for Wednesday in Nairobi.
And as you are aware, this event will be graced by none other than the head.
The vehicle access pass, you are not allowed to come to KIC